Knowing I don't have a lot of time, I'm going to say a couple other things that are a little more macro, and I'm sure we'll do a bunch of stuff in Q&A. The most macro thing I can tell you is that self-awareness is fundamentally the most important shit I've ever seen in my life. I am so addicted to this thought process. If I could wish you anything besides health, it would be self-awareness. Once you have self-awareness, once you actually understand who you are, so much crazy shit happens. And so, I'm unbelievably aware that you have ambitions. I think all of us have versions of what we wish we were versus understanding what we actually are. You know, I would be thrilled to be the starting quarterback of the New York Jets. That's not gonna happen. But very early on in my life, I was aware that I was more likely to buy the New York Jets than to play for them. And what that allowed me to do is to triple down on my entrepreneurial spirit as a 10, 11, 13-year-old. You know, if I could leave any legacy from this talk today, it would be to get somebody to understand that maybe they're not a number one and they should do a startup, but they're a number 3 and should support the fuck out of a great number 1. I always tell my entrepreneurial friends, number 12 at Facebook made more than number 1 of 99.99999% of companies in the last 15 years. If you can actually understand what you're about, a lot of you shouldn't be vlogging. A lot of you shouldn't be investing. And that is not a negative, that's a positive. And so I unbelievably want to start instilling things like self-awareness and patience, because I can tell you one thing. How many people here are under 30? Raise your hands. I really wish you knew what it felt like to be 42. And I'm sure a lot of people here, how many people over 40? What all of you know, what I know is, it's fucking crazy that 24 feels like 42, feels like 67. It's always there. It's always there. And if you actually knew how long, you know, one of the most fascinating things I'm paying attention to is our inability to understand how long our fucking life is. The amount of people that go into crisis at 18, 22, and 30 in our society is laughable. And so, please understand that for me, the biggest thing that I could have delivered this evening in this talk is putting the time frame of blockchain and crypto into perspective. I will also say one other very macro thing that I think is super important for me as you navigate how you're gonna bet your life in this world. If you actually understand blockchain, if you actually understand the framework of what we're talking about here, not what Litecoin is gonna be in fucking 7 months, no, the actual framework of what blockchain means, the thing that I have not been able to really get my head around, that I'd be fascinated, feel free to DM me and talk to me about it, is I hope we all can accept the following statement as truth. If you actually understand blockchain, it's really hard to wrap your head around how Russia, China, and America are gonna accept and allow this to happen. I think it's very important for everyone to actually understand this. If you actually understand what blockchain does, it takes away all the leverage that the countries in our world have outside of their atomic bombs and their armies. It is a substantially big platform. It is a revolutionary 2.0 of all the things the internet, my friends, has fundamentally started to drastically impact our culture because it's taken the middle and it's given it back to us. All the political, not just the voting, the things we talk about, whether it's Me Too or Black Lives Matter or anything else that's even secondary to those true issues, I hope everybody understands that all our shortcomings as human beings have been protected by the media infrastructures of the last 100 years and are losing their leverage, which is why we're having different conversations and making progress. Blockchain takes that shit to a whole fucking other place, which is why it's actually far more vulnerable than I think this room understands. In parallel, while we think about decentralization, I hope you understand what's happening across the world at a country level, because we're living through the growth of nationalism, right? If you think America is putting up walls with tariffs and actual debating walls, go look at what's happening happening in India right now. Go look at what's happening across the world. We are now, more than ever, over the last 70 years, seeing countries build internal mental walls which are in complete conflict with something that looks like blockchain. This is a very, very big deal, one that is often not respected by people that are enthusiasts of macro new trends. Let me give you the comp that will make sense to you. When Instagram copied the feature of Snapchat stories and pretty much pulled off a pretty substantial punch in the fucking face to Snapchat, it created everybody in the social media world to understand that you better not build a feature, because the ability of an incumbent like Facebook, Apple, or something of its ilk to copy that and stop you from growing is a very big deal. If you look at what's happening with the scooter movement, a lot of the cities and states are not going to get tricked this time the way they did with Uber. The internet has really fucked up the status quo. The people that have leverage are not just going to sit with their fucking hands on their ass and let blockchain do a 2.0 version of that. Please understand that if you believe in the nirvana of complete and utter blockchain at scale, that you're talking about substantial World War III fucking dynamics. And so, while everybody's walking around and thinking about short-term economics and the quick scores they're making on the currency that's built on top of these frameworks and the flip they made to change their short-term lives, which is phenomenal and inspiring and super fucking cool, I hope that there's certain people in here that are starting to deploy 5, 10, and 20-year windows, because if you are, and you're thoughtful about it, the economics, but more importantly, the legacy that you can leave becomes remarkable. And I promise you, for anybody in here who's made $1 or $2 in their lives, very quickly money stops mattering and other shit starts taking over. So, it's really fucking cool you made $1 million on some bullshit cryptocurrency. I don't give a fuck. What I care about is you're actually here, which means you are fundamentally 0.00001% ahead of society in your opportunity. I hope that you give the meaningful thought process and strategy against this advantage you have, because when I saw people have it with social, and when I saw people have it with email, and with search, and with the internet itself, 99.9% of them fucking blew it because they were going for the short-term score because they didn't respect in the macro opportunity. You have one life. Do something with it. Thank you. Thank you.